And we're back, finally, after almost a month of being gone. Welcome back to News and the Mexican. I'm just a dude, Peter Soprano. To my right is the sixth man of the year, Dre
Yes,
Morales.
sir.
And we still can't find Victor Salazar because he probably boxed the kangaroo in Australia, so he's probably knocked out. And we still don't know what's happened to Dave. He said he went to Jamaica, but he probably got lost in the Bermuda Triangle. But so we're gonna talk about a lot of football
Good
today.
point for you, Dave.
We're gonna go through a lot of different games. We're gonna try to go through every single game, give you a quick analysis about everyone. So let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
First game, let's start off with a 1 o'clock game. The Oakland Raiders at the Baltimore
Oh
Ravens.
God.
What do you think is happening in this game, Dre? Does
Oh man.
Baltimore just gonna wipe them out, or does Oakland even have a chance?
I don't know at this point. I mean, after last week, Oakland, you got to give them credit. They did get the W, so they're not completely tanking. But I
They're
expect,
still tanking.
but I expect them to go back into full tank mode this weekend.
They lucked into that win last week.
It's more on how who starts Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is starting for the Ravens.
So it's about how he plays. If he has a good game, they're gonna wipe him out at this point.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Can you believe he ran for like 140 yards last
he
week?
shouldn't be running that.
No, exactly. He's gonna get himself hurt.
That's
Like,
impressive, but he shouldn't be running that. As a QB, no organization wants to see their QB running for that many yards.
Yeah,
and that's unbelievable. But the kid's an athletic kid. So not trying to discredit for what he did, but in my opinion, depending on how he does today, is going to be the end result. If he has a great game, they're going to blow him out. If he has an iffy game, it could be a lot close, and who knows, maybe Chucky might capitalize on that and and try to exploit those flaws in him. What do you think?
I think it's not going to be close. I think the Ravens are playing well right now. They got the Gus the Bus Edwards in their backfield. They're going to run the ball completely down the throat. Oakland has one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, so I don't think it's going to be a close game. So I mean, we're going to talk about betting later. Right now, we're just talking about who's going to win the game. I don't think Oakland has a chance, and I think the Ravens are going to blow them out.
Well, let me ask you something real quick. Since Ravens are playing at home, the AFC North. Second place, what's it looking like? Cincinnati and Baltimore?
Yeah, Cincinnati and Baltimore are fighting out for that spot, trying to get right to one of the wild card spots of the playoffs. Cincinnati has been really struggling without AJ Green, so
Yeah. Which I expected to, and it looks like he might be out for
he's not playing
for today. So that's unfortunate for any Cincinnati fans.
Yeah, so they're gonna have a tough time winning, but right now. It's going to be a fight probably between those two to try to get that last wild card spot unless somebody comes out of nowhere and gets hot.
Yeah, so I expect both teams today to come out, playing good football, considering it is week 12. It's coming down to the wire, guys. Who would have thought week 12 already?
Yeah.
But yeah, I expect both teams to play good football today.
So let's get on to the second game, since we both obviously are picking Baltimore in that one. Second game, the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Buffalo Bills.
Oh my God.
We got the Bills who... They're probably the biggest up and down team. Well, not the biggest, that's my Titans, but the biggest up and down team in terms of betting wise, because they could be a 10-point underdog, 15-point underdog, and they find a way to win games. They can't beat Tennessee, they can't beat Minnesota. Buffalo Bills are at home again, where they seem to be dangerous, and they have their quarterback back in Josh Allen.
Oh man.
So Jacksonville, who's been struggling all year, they seem to be breaking apart. Talking about trading Jalen Ramsey, and it was just a knife in the heart last week by the Steelers when Big Ben ran it in at the end. So
my Big Ben.
now we got Jacksonville at the Buffalo Bills. What do you think's gonna happen?
This is a messy, ugly game. I can't wait. I can't wait for this. I feel like everybody's excited for this game. No, you got two teams that are super unpredictable. Like Pete said, you got a team in Buffalo that can play very bad, and then they'll go into Minnesota and completely blow them out.
Yeah.
And then you got a team in Jacksonville who were in the AFC Championship game last season, and now they look the complete opposite. Again, Pete just mentioned you're at home, 16-0 lead, and you're gonna sleep on a Steelers team, and especially a guy like Big Ben, knowing the type of games he can have in the fourth quarter.
And he was horrible that game until the end.
He played horrible.
He had like 6 yards in the first half.
He played horrible, horrendous, and this is coming from a Steelers fan. And the fact that he was able to make up for it, I know that the hearts of the defense or any Jaguars fans that day dropped.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate for any fans that had any type of hopes. Because if there was any hope for Jacksonville and that defense, that was last week.
Because we talked about that during the game, and we was like, you know what, Jacksonville may just have their number. Like it looked like it, like
and I thought so
9-0 for like 3 quarters, pretty much, and they had nothing. They looked gassed, and then all of a sudden they just done.
And I thought so too. But my conclusion to that was, Jacksonville doesn't have their number. Big Ben has his own number when it comes to playing that defense. So, with that being said, you got Jacksonville at Buffalo today.
Picking an upset, or are you staying with Jacksonville?
It's gonna be a field goal game either way, in my opinion. I'm gonna have to. I mean, I like Buffalo in this game. Josh Allen. How long has he been out? Has he been out for?
About over a month, I think. Yeah.
Over a month. Listen, the offense of Jacksonville is a little iffy. They got Leonard Fournette back, so maybe that might. If you try to convince me to take Jacksonville, I could say, I might be able to hear you out. But the fact that they got Fournette back, but I still can't trust that defense. And I still can't trust the offense, even with Fournette back. Like Pete said, Buffalo does play well at home.
Yeah.
Their defense is okay. It's not bad. And Buffalo's been more consistent than Jacksonville has. So, I mean, I like the upset.
All right, so I'm going to actually stay with Jacksonville. I'm going to give them one more chance to at least show that they're not
How many chances are we going to give them?
complete utter trash. So this is their chance to show if they're utter trash or not. Like, I don't want to hear Jalen Ramsey talk about all the team's quarterbacks when he can't do anything right now. So this is their last chance to even put up or shut up. This is his time to put up or shut up. So
I mean, do they even have like they're 3-7 in the AFC South?
They really don't have a chance. They'll have to run the table. They're not getting at 8-8, so they will have to run the table, and so it will have to start today for them. So let's move on to next game. Let's go with the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. We talked a little bit about the Bengals earlier with AJ Green being out, and the Cleveland Browns are a little bit cocky this week. Their cornerback Demarius Randall pretty much said if AJ Green does not play, we're going to kick their ass.
Oh, my God.
So the Browns are very cocky this week. And you know what? I think I'm wrong with them. I think I'm going to pick the Browns in this game.
I think so. You know what? I think so, too, to be honest. And even though I did mention before how Cincinnati, I expect them to play a good game today, who's on their side now? Hugh Jackson?
He's the special advisor, assistant, whatever. So that's not a good thing. So he lost all those games in a row, and then he wondered why he got fired. Like, because you suck. That's why. It's flat out, you just sucked.
Yeah.
So you're not also going with Cleveland?
Cincinnati, a couple weeks ago, got mollywopped by the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
And then they lost that.
But everybody seems to be, though.
And then they lost that close game to Baltimore.
That one hurt.
At this point, Browns are just, finally getting wins after 2 years.
They've been playing well most of the
And they've
year.
been playing well, and arguably they should have had a better record. They should have beat the Steelers. They should have probably beat the Saints, maybe.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Like I said, they should have had a better record.
They're a kicker away from having 6 wins.
Now that's insane. Who
Yeah.
would have thought that?
The Browns. Oh, me and Hop thought that because we bet on this.
But I'm gonna have to go with the Browns on this one.
Okay.
And I'm just going based off of who's been playing a little bit of better football. Yeah, at this point, it's a pride, Again, a team in Cleveland that hasn't won a game in 2 years, previous to this season.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're finally starting to get a momentum, and if they can hang on to that, it might give them some hope for the next season.
So
I mean,
we're both on Cleveland then. Let's go on to probably what I think is the worst game of the week: the San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let me just say,
can't wait for that either.
Dre actually asked me about this game betting wise about an hour ago or 30 minutes ago, and I was like, "What's the point of even betting on a game like that?
Yeah.
That game is gonna be so bad. Like, that's a game that if you are gonna bet it, you're not gonna watch it anyway. So, and usually bettors like to watch their games, so that's just gonna be an ugly game. I will leave it alone. Two bad teams, you have no idea which side is gonna show up. So I'm leaving it alone.
Very inconsistent.
But in terms of picking who's gonna win that game, I'm actually gonna pick the 49ers because I think the 49ers are a young team. They're trying hard, and Tampa Bay is just so out of it right now. They keep switching back and forth between quarterbacks, and they're just completely out of it. So I'm going to actually go with the 49ers to win that game.
Before I get to my pick, let me ask you something. How bad would it? How much is it going to influence the fact that Reuben Foster was just locked up?
Yeah.
from the 49ers. Is that going to impact the team at all? Is that going to?
I don't think so. I mean, he's been in trouble so much over the past couple years that I think they're almost used to it. He's been suspended for games. He's missed games because of that. I just think they're almost used to playing without him. So now that he's been officially cut from the team, listen, I think they're just going to go on business as usual.
Right. I mean, so for this game, both defenses are Swiss cheese at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any offense
Sorry,
feel
Arnold.
good. Sorry, Arnold. Yeah. And shout out to my 49ers, man, because I got number love for you guys.
Don't say shout out to the 49ers, you're wearing a Steelers hat. Come on,
Nah,
man.
hey, listen, man. I love for your Saints too, bro, but even looking a little iffy. Listen, hear me
We'll
out.
get to that later.
Exactly. I'm gonna have to roll with the home team on this one.
All right.
Tampa Bay. Put Fitzgerald in there. He's been doing a lot better than Winston. I don't know who
But
started
now
today.
Winston's back again. Yeah, that's what I said. You
Very
can't even
good.
know who quarterback's gonna be.
But assuming they're gonna bench Winston by half, assuming they're gonna bench him by the half, I still have a little bit of hope in
Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic. So again, it's an ugly game. Both defense are completely trash. I'm just gonna go with the quarterback that's been making the more noise at this point. To me, this is a game on what quarterback going to make the better plays at this point. And again, depending on how long James Winston's in the game for, or if he's playing the whole time. If he's playing the whole time, I can see why Stanford can take this. But I'm going to have to roll with the home team and take Tampa Bay on this one.
All right, we're going with Tampa Bay. All right, let's get to the game that I think is maybe the best 1 o'clock game, and that's as they show it on TV, ironically. The Carolina Panthers and Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks go across country and visit Cam Newton's place and Christian McCaffrey's place.
Wow.
This is going to be the game of the week, and in terms of the 1 o'clock games at least. And listen, I think it's going to be high scoring. I think both teams between Russell Wilson and Cam Newton are going to find a way to get into the end zone. Even though both teams have an above average defense, I think this could be a very high scoring game. What do you think about it?
High scoring? Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a high scoring game. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense, I feel like they start to kick it up.
They are.
They're picking up a huge momentum right now.
By the way, I don't like Russell Wilson. I don't know what it is. I just don't like him.
I don't like him, but I respect him.
But he's good.
I respect him, and you got to take your hat off.
You know what it is I watch games with him every single week. And I'm like, he's this close to getting sacked every single play. And he finds a way to get out of it. I'm like, how? How do you not bring him down?
That doesn't look good.
He's like slippery. He's like
it looks good for him though, but the way he does it is too risky. It's too ugly. And as a Seattle fan, I'll be throwing up watching games like that because I don't want to see my quarterback in that situation.
Yeah.
It's a weird game in a way, believe it or not. In my opinion, you got a team like Carolina. I mean, they went for the 2 points.
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
I was surprised about that.
But that's why they call him Riverboat Ron Rivera.
Hey,
Those chances.
Hey, listen, you got to go for the win at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like it's going to come to bite them in the ass, and it will. And Seattle, I mean, they just finished beating Green Bay.
Yeah.
Was that their last game?
Yeah, they found a way.
And then they had a bye week.
They found listen, Seattle is turning it up right now at the right time. They needed to because they got to be. Listen, the NFC is really tough. 9-7 may not get you in, so it's really tough in the NFC. So you got to start it right now. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to roll with Seattle in this one. Again, I'm with the team. They're playing better football. They're on the incline. Carolina, surprisingly, is slowly on the decline. I'm not counting them out. This is a game that, again, if we had to talk betting purposes, don't bet it. Just sit back, enjoy the game.
yeah.
You're gonna see.
Actually, I don't agree with that, but we'll get to that later.
I think it's gonna be a good game because at this point, Carolina's in the hot seat. They got to show something, and they got to show that they can win at home. And if they can't, then any possible playoff hope for them, to me, is going to be questionable after today.
So who are you picking?
I'm picking Seattle.
I'm actually going to go against you. I'm rolling with Cam Newton. So they're the home team. They play well at home this year. They've been horrible on the road. But almost all their wins have come at home, and they seem to get energized by that Carolina crowd. So I'm going to go with Carolina at home in that game. Now let's go to 2 local squads. So we're both surprisingly playing at 1 o'clock. They usually split them up 1 at 1 and 1 at 4, but they're both playing at 1 o'clock today. Let's start out with the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. And this is a game that I actually bet earlier in this week, and we'll get to betting later. But I think. Listen,
That was a good pick.
I'm very surprised that the line is only 9 because we saw the Jets completely get manhandled the last time we saw them, and the Patriots are starting to pick it up. I think the Patriots are going to blow them out. I think this. I understand people say it's a divisional game and it's a rivalry game, so the Jets can keep it close. They're at home. But I don't see it right now. We just saw them get mollywopped by the Buffalo Bills, and that's a divisional game, that's a rival game. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Patriots to blow them out. I can see Brady throwing for 4 touchdowns today.
Oh, man.
I think it's going to be a 20-point blowout for the New England Patriots.
And by the way, Brady is playing.
He's playing. Yeah,
I
never believed
I
that.
kept getting alerts and alerts and alerts to the point where I had to text P and say, P, like, what's the deal with Brady? Is he gonna play?
He always plays.
Yeah, he's gonna play today, and that's enough said right there. The Patriots are gonna win by double digits. One thing I learned is that if the Patriots lose by double digits and they're a favorite by double digits in the next game, take them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're coming off of a bye week as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, the Patriots just lost by double digits on a bye week.
Mm-hmm.
I know Bill Belichick is scheming something for the Jets, and that's plenty of time to capitalize on a
Gronk's back.
And
That's a big piece.
No,
Gronk's back.
yeah, listen, Patriots all day, no question about it.
I agree. I think the Patriots blow them out. Now, the other local game, the New York Giants will be at the Philadelphia Eagles. We've already been passed a couple notes from Eagles fans saying, let's go Eagles in here. So we'll see how long that lasts with Javi around. But we got, like I said, Giants and the Eagles. The Giants are starting to play a little bit better. They're starting to get hot. The Eagles are not playing well, and there's the sign that we got passed there.
Oh, my God.
So, we are trying to see if the Giants can keep it rolling. Odell last week said, listen, everybody thinks it's crazy until they actually do it, and they're going to try to do it. They're going to try to run the table. They're going to have to run the table to try to win that division and get into the playoffs. So do you think, first of all, who do you like in that game? And two, depending on who you pick, do you think the Giants can run the table?
Wow. This is a weird. This
5
is
more games after today.
This is a weird game. The NFC East, right? Who would have known? A couple of weeks ago, Dallas got embarrassed at home against Tennessee. They got embarrassed.
Not in 1 3 in a row.
And people were criticizing them. People thought that the NFC East was a lock for Washington. And Washington falls into second place after losing to Dallas on Thursday.
Yeah.
Dallas is in number 1.
Yeah.
If the Giants win today, Philly and Giants will both have the same record at 4-6.
Yeah.
Who would have ever
And they're
thought?
both right there at the chance to win the division. So who are you picking in that game?
Wow, unbelievable. I'm gonna have to say Giants in this one.
All right.
I'm gonna have to go with the Giants.
All right.
Saquon Barkley's been the mouthpiece of the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking that leadership role in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this point they have the more weapons. It's just if Eli Manning could actually capitalize on that.
Okay.
But if he can, then I honestly don't see how they could lose this game. Now I can't count the Philadelphia Eagles out, especially at home. But the way they've been playing, all the amount of injuries they have on that team, honestly I wouldn't feel comfortable taking them. I'm gonna have to go with Giants in this one, to be honest. It might be a close game, but I'm pretty comfortable that the Giants might take this one.
You know, what's something that I said about the Atlanta Falcons before they lost to the Browns? I said, don't let the fact that the Falcons won 2 or 3 straight distract you from the fact that they still suck.
Yeah.
And look at the teams that they played and they won against, and they suck. They just beat other bad teams. The Giants, under last two games, they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we already established suck.
Yeah.
And they play against the 49ers, who we said suck. We said that's the worst game of the week. So they beat 2 teams that are bad. Now they're going against the Super Bowl champions, who are pretty much upset because of how bad they've been playing.
Super Bowl hangover?
A little bit, but listen, I don't think they were that great of a team last year. I thought if they had played against the Saints, they would have lost, but I thought the Saints were the best team last year. But I think it all comes down to who the better team is, and I think overall right now the better team, even though they may not be playing better because of their opponents, I think the better team is the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to go with the Eagles to win, which will put the Giants back on their track for tank season and try to get their top quarterback. So I'm going to say the Eagles win that game.
Okay.
Now let's move on to the next game. We go out to the 4 o'clock games. There's going to be three 4 o'clock games today. Let's start it off with probably the worst one: Arizona at the Chargers. I think this is going to be one of those Jets versus New England games. Chargers, even though they lost last week, I think they're, in my opinion, I still think that they're going to come out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. Most people are picking Kansas City. I'm going with the Chargers. I just trust them a little bit more. I think they have a better defense, and I think it's going to come down to that. So, Chargers versus Cardinals. Cardinals right now are just a bad team. They're a young team. So I'm going to go with the Chargers to win, pretty much the same way with I picked the Patriots to win earlier. I can see Rivers throwing 4 touchdowns, or at least Melvin Gordon running for 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I think this will be a blowout.
I completely agree on that. Extremely similar scenarios in that in this Chargers and Arizona game. Comparing it to the Patriots and Jags, Chargers should take this, take it any way you want, money line, spread, whatever. They're gonna cover, they're gonna win, and I don't see them struggling.
All right. So, like I said, that was an easy game to pick, just like the Patriots and Jets. So let's just go on to the next one. Let's go with the Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts completely embarrassed by Titans last week, completely just wiped the floor with them. So I can't even say anything bad about them right now. The Dolphins are tearing apart, but they do get Ryan Tannehill back today. I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference because I don't think Dolphins were that good in the first place. So who knows? They may even be better with their backup Osweiler. So,
oh my God.
So which is very sad. I don't think Tannehill is going to be back on that team.
I would have known Osweiler would still have a job right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Then again, Peterman has been playing too. So.
Oh my God, Nathan Peterman! Like how do you? I'm telling you, Nathan Peterman should be a prime example in the Colin Kaepernick case.
Oh my God!
How does Colin Kaepernick not have a job, but Nathan Peterman is still getting tryouts for jobs, and he had a job most of the year?
Unbelievable!
It's just horrible. So with that said, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Colts. I'm going to pick the Colts because Andrew Luck is on fire right now. I think it's 4 straight games where he's had at least 3 touchdowns. I think it's 3-3, 4-4, something like that his last 4 games. So he's been completely on fire. Mack is running good for them in the backfield, so their offense is completely clicking. Defense still isn't great, but they were good last week, so I'm going to go with the Colts to win that one pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's scary how good Luck is playing at this point of the season, and yeah, I think it's safe to say that he's back. They're firing all cylinders.
It's funny, like week 2, they were saying, "Oh, he looked like he lost his arm and he can't throw anymore."
Yeah, to put in the backup.
Exactly. Now he's throwing 4 touchdowns a week.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The Colts are hot right now. I don't know if Tannehill's going to be able to save the Dolphins in this one. They're playing on the road. It's going to be tough. For them, it's going to be very tough to beat a hot Indianapolis team, but I'm going to have to go with the home team and take the Colts on this one.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that. And let's go on to your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go out west, go into cold Denver, and face a very tough defense. So Big Ben goes from a defense in Jacksonville, who's a scary defense, to now a scarier defense in Denver because they actually been putting it up. Like they haven't been putting up there, they haven't been shutting up. So you got your team going. I'm going to let you talk about this first. Your team is going to Denver. What do you think they're going to do? How do you think they'll play, and do you think they'll find a way to pull out that win?
Well, I'll say one thing. Every time the Steelers play on the road, it's always messy. It's always scary. You saw that last week. I mean, I was having a cardiac arrest for 3.5 quarters into the game. But the fact that Big Ben was able to do what he did in those 5 minutes of that fourth quarter, that's scary. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Steelers fan, but if you're telling me that...
He's saying that because he's a Steelers fan.
Nah. If Steelers are down 6-0 to do what they did against, that somewhat shitty defense on the road against Jacksonville.
You can't do that at Denver, though. They're not. If they're down 16-0 late in the fourth quarter, they're not coming back to beat Denver, in my opinion.
I mean, if there's a quarterback that could do it, I'll say Big Ben's one of them. Listen, on the road, I'm going to respect the Steelers' road record because they are 4-0 on the road and tied up against the Browns, which, again, that game could have gone either way. They should have won it. Browns should have won it. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to have to lean towards the Steelers on this one. It's going to be a tight game. I know they're -3 on this one. They have been playing good football lately, and they are peaking. If Denver were to win, it wouldn't surprise me. This is a game, again, I would stay away. I will stay away from, just sit back and enjoy it, especially myself as a Steelers fan. I'm going to keep a close eye on this game if the Steelers can somehow, blow out Denver at home, they're gonna be a real threat in the AFC. But if the Steelers choke in this game and they lose on the road to Denver, then that's just gonna prove to everybody what they've been saying about the Steelers, and is that yeah, they might get to the AFC Championship game, or they might just choke in the playoffs. So I feel like today's it's an important game for the Steelers.
So you know what? I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm tired of the Steelers being favorites because every single year, in my opinion, you have they don't have this year without Bell, but you have one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the league. You have the best wide receiver. You have a top 5 quarterback. You have a defense who's supposed to be a blitz happy defense, and they can control at least half of the game and do good enough against with that offense. And every year they find a way to not do it. They're not, and I'm not even saying not even win the Super Bowl. They're not even getting to the Super Bowl. They haven't been in the Super Bowl in about 10 years, which is unbelievable. That blows my mind. That you have a team that is pretty much the equivalent of what the Colts had when they had Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, and Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
and they got the 2 Super Bowls. Like, they can't even get to a Super Bowl now. Like, it's ridiculous. And I think all the talking with them, whether we're scared of them and how good they are, they need to just make it to the Super Bowl. If they can't make it to the Super Bowl, they need to break that team up because their window has pretty much almost gone twice already.
Almost,
In 10 years, usually a window for winning a championship is 3 to 5 years. It's been 10 years and they haven't even gone to a Super Bowl. Everything needs to change with them. Like, if they don't get to the Super Bowl this year, with a team in New England that's weak, with a team with Kansas City that has no defense, with a team with the Chargers that have never been there before. This is their chance again to get there, and if they can't get there, they need to break that team up.
Yeah, well, one thing I gotta say about that is, a lot of people were counting them out already. Early in the season, they did have a bumpy start. The tie against the Browns was embarrassing. I mean, like I said, you should have won that one. It's a messy game. The whole thing with KC. I mean, it is KC, but you are right. When it comes to playoff time, when it comes to AFC Championship time, they always choke. We always choke, and something has to happen now. You're right. Especially with Bell gone, how sweet would it be for us to get to the Super Bowl? That'll be insane. Like I said, in my opinion, today is one of the next important games that we're gonna have in the next couple of weeks. Today's one of them because today's gonna prove that if we can go on the road and beat Denver, and at least have some type of momentum towards the end of the season, heading towards the polls, I'll feel a little better. But at this point, I still need them to show me more.
You know what? I'm gonna. It's probably one of those games that I probably should pick Pittsburgh, but you know what? I'll go on a limb and say I'm picking Denver Broncos to win that game. They beat Chargers just about a week ago in a last-minute field goal. Shocked the hell out of me, and they were at home. That you know what? They could find a way to win that game. I'm gonna pick the Denver Broncos.
Who's at home in that game?
Denver.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to play in Mile High.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw KC barely squeezed it, so again, it's important.
All right, so let's get to what I suggest is probably the best game of the week, the Sunday night game, and it's a huge game, playoff implications for both teams. The Green Bay Packers travel to Minnesota, and this is a game that whoever wins this game will be right there for that last playoff spot in the NFC. And with 5 weeks to go, you don't have too many tries to try to get a game like this. So Green Bay Packers at Minnesota, it's a tough game. It's very hard for me to pick, and that's why I'm going to let you pick first.
This is tough. Do or die, huh? Who would have thought at this point right now, do or die for Green Bay?
Enjoy it off of Minnesota too. People said Minnesota was a top 4 team in the NFC. They said it was Minnesota. Before the year started, it was supposed to be the Rams. It was supposed to be Minnesota. It was supposed to be the Saints, and it was supposed to be the Eagles.
Yeah.
And right now, you got the Eagles that are below 500.
Oh my God.
And you got the Vikings that are fighting for their lives right now. This is why the NFL is so great, because you can't completely predict everything.
And Minnesota's at home, right?
Yeah, Minnesota's at home. And they won the first game against Green Bay, which they shouldn't have. They kind of BS that game because of bullshit calls, but Clay Matthews knows about that. That was a complete BS call.
And the first time they met, it was in a tie, which I think Green Bay should have actually won that game. Again, it's going to be another tough NFC North game. I don't even know what to say about this. Green Bay's in a situation that if they don't win, in my opinion, they're not making it to the playoffs. And if they do make it to the playoffs after losing to today, if they do lose, then they're not gonna. They're probably gonna lose the first game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, they have to win. They have to win. There's no excuses. After that bye week, Green Bay, lost to the Rams, lost to the Patriots,
Yeah.
and that was heartbreaking. Who did they lose to last week?
The Packers.
Yeah.
That was the game against Detroit.
Yeah.
Was it Detroit?
Seattle. Again,
Seattle.
another heartbreaking game that they should have won. That had to lead the whole game. I'm gonna have to roll with Minnesota in this one.
Yeah.
I love Rodgers. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. But I'm gonna have to say a Minnesota better defense, better offense. They just been playing better football. Again, they have to show me something too at this point, because if they let Green Bay catch up to them, then that's when I think Aaron Rodgers comes into play and his experience, and it might just look like Green Bay could take the again, fucking Detroit's in the fourth place.
Yeah. It's one of those games where it's really tough to call because
Yeah, it
this
is
is a
very
playoff.
tough.
This is a playoff matchup.
You cannot let Green Bay catch. If you're a Minnesota team, you cannot let them tie you up in the division. Otherwise, they might just surpass you.
I'm gonna go. Listen, he's burned me a lot of times this year. I'm not gonna say he's burned me. That team has burned me a lot this year. But I'm gonna go Green Bay because when the game is on the line, if he has the ball with a chance to win the game, I'm completely confident in Rodgers, and I'm not confident in Kirk Cousins to do the same.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
So I'm in a close game. I'm gonna think that Rodgers can find a way to pull it out. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay to win that game.
Well, I feel like Green Bay's been in a couple of close
but
situations where unfortunately they haven't. Well, like that
Ray had
Rams
the
game,
ball.
and then like the Seattle game too, where it was like a field goal game.
But that was the coach's fault.
No, I know.
That's why I don't think he's going to be back next year.
I hope not. He better not.
Like 4 minutes to go in the game, Seattle's been running the ball down your throat.
Unbelievable.
Why would you punt the ball with 4 minutes to go? Like it's fourth down and 4. You got the best quarterback in the world. Let him prove it. Like
Yeah.
I didn't get that. That was completely a coaching decision.
agree.
So I don't think it's been. And listen, they
No,
haven't
not
had the
saying.
ball.
Yeah, not saying this is because of Rodgers. I'm just saying like the whole. The play calling and their decision making when it comes to those tight moments, it's been poor lately, and I'm not confident in them lately when it comes to that. I know Rodgers can do it. You give him an opportunity, he's going to do it, and I would put any money on that. But as of late, their play calling when it comes to stuff like that, I'm just not with it, and not confident at all.
All right, so let's get to the final game of the week, the Monday night game. The Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans.
How about you go first? It's your team. I'm actually curious to see what you have to say about this.
Well, anybody that's been a Titans fan know that they have been the most up and down team this year. They've lost to the Buffalo Bills. They've gotten blown out by the Indianapolis Colts, but they also beat the two teams that made the Super Bowl last year. So they've been more up and down than anybody else.
Agree.
And in perfect Tennessee Titan form, they play this week. They play against the Houston Texans, who are leading the division, who they beat already this year. And now, next week, they play against the Jets. In perfect form would be they win this week and then lose next week to the Jets.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that
You got plays next week? You got plays Jets?
Yeah, play the Jets next week. They like being on TV. They like having the spotlight on them, and they play well when the spotlight is on them. We saw it last year in the playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
We've seen it when they play against the Eagles. We've seen it when they played against all the top teams. They play well against that team. They seem to step up. So I'm going to say they do it one more time. I think the Titans find a way to win that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I do like Tennessee at Houston. Last time we seen Tennessee play on a Monday night, they were on the road and they blew out the whole
on the
team.
star.
Yeah.
Stood on the star. We'll take the fine.
Savage. I think that was the savage moment of the night. Yeah, I'm gonna have to roll with Tennessee again. Houston's on the 7-game winning streak. Who would have thought, after starting the season 0-3, they'll be 7-3 by now, week 12. Credit to them. I'm not taking nothing away from Houston. They've been playing unbelievable football, playing great. Again, everybody's clicking on all the offense is clicking on all cylinders. But I'm gonna give Tennessee one more shot. Again, I know they've been super inconsistent, but when they show up, they're a scary team, and they can play really, really good, nasty physical football.
Defense.
So I'm gonna give Tennessee another shine. I'm gonna roll with them. I'm gonna take Tennessee goes into Houston and takes care of business.
All right. So now with that done, let's move on to the betting portion of the show. Let's get these three picks through. But before we even do that, I want to talk about quickly the new age of betting. The new age of betting is pretty much live betting.
Yeah, live. Wow.
Not really betting before the games. And I understand, yes, you want to get some games in before the line change and everything. But pretty much the most important thing now is like the coin toss. Whoever's going to get the ball first. Because if you're betting on a team and they're the favorite and they lose the coin toss and don't get the ball first, and the other team, you pretty much want to wait. You don't want to bet, because if that other team goes right down and scores, you're going to get much better odds. And I'll give you two examples, and we talked about this on Friday during the Oklahoma-West Virginia game. Oklahoma was, I think, a 3 or 4 point favorite.
Yeah.
And West Virginia went right down the field the first drive and scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then that's when I bet it. And I got, instead of ending Oklahoma at -3.5, I got them at +3.5.
That's right.
And the same thing happened last night with Notre Dame. Notre Dame was an 11 point favorite, 12 point favorite. And we saw USC come down the field, score 7-0, and I think they even got to 10-0. And you were able to get Notre Dame at -4. And that's the difference between a win or loss, because if you had got them at -11, you would have lost. You got them at -4, you win. So the new age of betting right now, if you have a FanDuel or if you have DraftKings or if you have an app where you can live bet, that's the best thing to do right now. You got to live bet games.
Absolutely. I mean, like, if I had to give a quick scenario in that case, let's say Jets are up 10-7 at halftime against the Patriots. Now instead of taking the Patriots, which the line is right now -13 Patriots, at the half they might be -7, or they might be -7.5, 6.5, whatever. Again, if you feel really good about let's say in that scenario you feel good about the Patriots, you might want to live bet that game at that moment. Because now you just increase your odds of them covering that spread, which usually they do.
So with that said, let's get right into the betting picks. If you do have to make your picks before the game starts, so you can't live bet, let's get them right in.
Yep.
I'll start them off with my quick 3 bets just to get them in. New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Right now, as we talked about earlier, the Patriots I think they're going to blow them out. They're a 13-point favorite right now. I think they're going to win the game by 20. So I would say give them points and take the Patriots. The second game I'm going to go with is the game that we talked about earlier with Seattle at Carolina. It's a 3-point spread right now. I personally think the Panthers are going to win that game, not by a blowout or anything, but I think it could be a 7-point type game, 6-point type game. There's tough games to bet this week, so I think that's one of the close ones that I think you got to take. Carolina's at home and they play well at home. And the last game of the week, I would say, would be... It's actually a really tough week to find a third game, but I'm going to go with...
A lot of these spreads are close.
I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. They're 1-point underdogs to the Bengals right now. I think the Browns are going to win at money line. I believe that they're going to kick their ass. So I'm with Marius Randall, and I think the Browns are going to beat the Bengals.
Okay. My first game that I'm going to go with is LA Chargers at home against Arizona. They are a 2-touchdown favorite team to beat Arizona. Chargers just came from a loss last week. I expect them to come out hot. There's not a lot of science behind it. Phillip Rivers. You got that hot offense going up, against Arizona. I like them. Take Chargers -14 if you can. If it goes up to 14.5, possibly by the hook, because you never know in this scenario. My next game is going to be Indy at home against Miami. Indy's just been super hot. I expect them to win by double digits. Tannehill's coming back. I don't know if that's going to make any difference. But Andrew Luck he's just been hot lately, and I'm going to have to go with that. I mean, Indianapolis has been on a roll. I like Indianapolis -9. Like I said, I think they're going to win by double digits. And then I'm going to have to go with my third game is Baltimore at home against Oakland. Oakland, they did get the win last week, but Baltimore is just a better overall team. They got a solid defense, and if Lamar Jackson has a good game, I expect them to win well over double digits as well at home against Oakland that hasn't been playing good whatsoever. So that's my lock of the week, actually. Baltimore -13 against Oakland.
Okay. All right, so with that said, we got one fantasy question sent in. Let's get to that real quick. Luis Alvarez sent in McCoy or Gus Edwards today. McCoy is going against, even though Jacksonville's defense is giving up a lot of points, they're going against a defense that is very good against the run. So I would say that I would not start McCoy, and I would actually go with Gus the Bus Edwards. Yeah, and if he runs good today, I would roll with Edwards a lot, especially with Lamar Jackson starting because he's a big bowling ball type back, and their schedule is probably the easiest run defenses against for the rest of the year. So if he can run good, Lamar Jackson maybe holds on to the job. I think that's the way to go. Go Gus Edwards. And with that said, I want to say shout out to Julio. What's up out there?
Yeah.
As I mentioned to Melvin, Gronk is playing, so you can start him with confidence. And we will be back next week, probably from Los
You're gonna be in
Angeles.
LA, right?
We will be in Los Angeles. We will be at
Okay.
the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight.
Be a good one.
So we will be televising live from Los Angeles, from around the Staples Center next week. Vic will be back for that as well. So we will catch you next week. To do the
Always a pleasure,
Mexican.
guys. Take
We
care.
are out.